The following podcast is part of the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. For advertising information or to find more great podcasts, visit us at www.theunderdogsports.com and follow us on Twitter at RealTheUnderdog.
Okay. Well, just for the record, we got the Sunny in Phoenix too. 52 to.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sunny in Phoenix podcast, a weekly podcast where we keep you up to date on everything Phoenix Suns basketball. My name is Charlie Erling, and as always, I'm joined by Mitch Krmpotich.
I don't know about you, but I feel good.
I don't know about you, but I feel good.
All right, this week on the episode, we will be talking about the very, very unfortunate Kevin Durant injury, but in the meantime, we still have Devin Booker, who's been playing some great basketball over the last 4 games. After that, we'll talk about last week's games and look forward to the 4 coming up this week.
Shoutouts are not in order for our bet question from last week because our bet question was about Kevin Durant and he got hurt right before the game. So, yeah, we were not able to actually do that. So we're still tied. There's, I think, 4 weeks left in the season. And shout out to everyone who answered, but just stay tuned for the next bet question because this one didn't happen.
Yeah, these it's just making the future ones more and more meaningful.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so yes, the unfortunate news that we all know by now. The Kevin Durant injury to the ankle, where it looks like he will be out somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks before he gets checked back up on. Just rolled over on it during his own little private workout before the game. And, man, before we get into what this means on the court, I feel so bad for everybody who bought tickets to both of these Oklahoma City games here in Phoenix, where they thought Kevin Durant might make his home debut. And unfortunately, it just hasn't happened yet.
I really, really feel for all of those people. It's so unfortunate. I feel for Kevin Durant, too. He just wants to play basketball.
Right. That's all he's about. That's all he wants to do. And, yeah, it's a bummer because he's going to get an insane welcome whenever it finally does happen when he makes his debut here in Phoenix. But we all just have to wait. And it's going to be tough. We're going to have some new guys really step up to try to fill the void here because as much as I love Devin Booker scoring the way he has been, there's going to need to be a number 2 and then an option off the bench too who can really take us through the rest of the regular season here.
Yeah, it's especially hard too because we were teased with what it's going to look like just for 3 games. So, that was just so exciting, and I was so ready to just have that for the rest of the year. But I don't know. It's better for it to happen now than during the playoffs.
Right. That's true. And maybe as some consolation here, I saw someone on Reddit talk about how no other teams get to have tape on KD and Booker playing together outside the few games that we just had. So,
yeah, very limited. That's true.
That's good for us once we get there. And, on this timetable, it is likely that Durant will make it back for a few games at the end of the regular season, but obviously we'll have to see what kind of position we're in. Without him, that kind of changes things up from what we were projecting just a week ago. how we might end up in the regular season and the standings. But yeah. A lot of things. We're going to be seeing some new type of things going on here pretty quick. But who do you think needs to step up the most out of anybody here? We gave up the two guys who could, fill a role like this in Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges in that trade. But now it's going to have to be other guys stepping up to be the option behind Booker, Ayton, and Paul.
I actually am going to go with someone who already has stepped up. And I think it's Josh Okogie. He will probably continue to start, is my guess. And if he can just continue to play well, then I think that helps a lot.
Yep, I think so too. Okogie is going to have to really settle into that spot now. And I think with Durant out for the next few weeks, it's very solidified what his role is going to be going forward here. It's funny, last week on the show, I said something like, Josh Okogie won't ever shoot 10 3-pointers unless he made 5. And then he immediately goes 0 for 8 from downtown in that game.
Yeah.
But so I was technically right.
Yeah.
It wasn't 10.
You were technically right. It wasn't 10.
I didn't say anything about 9 or 8 shots.
Yeah,
so,
that's fine. 8's fine.
But no, I'm happy to see that he's out there playing confidently. And as a lesson to every single basketball player, if it's not dropping from outside, you got to get other things to work first. You got to see the ball go through the net. You got to get a layup. You got to get to the free throw line, things like that. And that's also things that Okogie brings to the table. He's one of the better guys on our team at getting to the rim and drawing a foul.
Yes. I would also like to see Torrey Craig step up. He's been fairly silent lately. Terrence Ross had a really big game the other night, which is great. I don't really anticipate that to be the norm, though. But I think if Craig and Terrence Ross, and maybe even Ish, can hit a couple threes, that will make a big difference. If each one of them can hit 1 or 2 a game, that would be really nice.
Yeah, that's a great point. And look what Ish did against the Mavericks in that game.
Yes,
4 for 5 from downtown, those 12 points. 9 of those were huge points.
Yes.
Like huge in turning the momentum of that game on that little, man, it was just a couple minutes stretch right there. But
yeah, that
Ish
was great.
came up huge there. And then, like Ross in the Thunder game, he was lights out, 6 for 10 from downtown, 24 points. So we will need guys like that to step up and hit buckets, and I think those two are good ones to point at. I'm a little worried about Torrey Craig, like you said. He's been silent, and now more than ever, I suppose, is when we need him to really step up. And I think he's capable of it. I think, ever since he had that stretch where he just had some boneheaded plays, I feel like he's kind of kept quiet since then.
It's just like the campaign effect.
Yeah, that might be true.
It's so hard because we've seen him disappear like this before, too. That's what really worries me is, last year he was just nowhere to be found. So
right.
I'm really hoping we can avoid that.
And Damian Lee kind of had a stretch very similar to that too, around the All-Star break and coming into it. But he's kind of been turning it on a little bit. He's been shooting it a little bit better. So that's good to see. But we're going to need all those guys too. And last but not least, the guy that we haven't mentioned much yet, TJ Warren, the other guy that came in on the trade. We're missing a lot of points with Kevin Durant not on the squad right now. And TJ Warren might be one of the more consistent scorers on our bench. So I know I thought, and a lot of us probably thought, that he would be, like a 10th man, 11th man type situation going forward. But I could see him getting a little bit more run here with the Durant injury. We'll have to see about that, though.
Yeah. I think that essentially is the silver lining, is we can get someone like TJ back into the flow of things a little bit, and then come playoff time, that could be helpful. Just to have another guy in case someone's cold to bring him in and have him ready to go. So I would love to see TJ get some more minutes. He hasn't been playing a lot, so I'd love to see that increase.
Yeah, it might be worth a shot. But when we talked about getting a guy back into the flow, I think DeAndre Ayton needs to be a bit of a not a bit of a focus, but a huge focus. The last couple games, I mean, in the Mavericks game, only 6 shots in 34 minutes. In the Thunder game, 9 shots in 24 minutes. So didn't play him a ton in that one, but he's still efficient out there. Still grabbing decent rebound numbers. Well, 16 against the Mavericks, which is huge.
Yeah.
So I don't want to see this guy get frustrated and then become uninvested on defense and get a little lazy out there. I think we have to make a priority of feeding him. I mean, Booker's option number 1. Ayton has to be option number 2 all 4 quarters of the game until Kevin Durant's back.
Yeah, and it seems like he understands, too, that, especially in the Dallas game, when Booker and Durant both go for 35 plus, I can't imagine he's mad that he didn't get as many shot attempts.
True. Yeah, I mean, there's not enough points to go around when you have 2 guys cooking like that, and neither were inefficient either. So it's not like you can get too frustrated. Yeah, I hear you there. And
then OKC, I mean, we just didn't need him. It was nice that he didn't have to play as much. We just destroyed them. So those games, I'm not too worried about stuff like that. But I think the games we have coming up this week, those are going to be big. Because like you said, he is back to being the second option, and we're going to need him to step up. But I mean that in the best way. Not that he has actually taken a step back or anything like that. He's done what he's needed to do, and I like that he had 16 rebounds against the Mavs. That showed he was still really working, even though he wasn't getting the ball in his hands as much.
Yep, good points. So yeah, there's quite a few guys who are going to have to step up in Durant's absence. Some of them are familiar with the team. They've been here all year or even longer, which is good. Maybe we see more TJ Warren. Maybe we even see more Baisley if we need some defense and some size out there. Who knows? But we'll just have to see how it goes. And man, just in the end of this, what a bummer, man. I can't. Yeah. I couldn't believe it happened when it happened, and then I was trying to be optimistic and think, it was just a tweak. They just had him back in the trainer for the game. It just didn't need to go put him on the bench. He was getting it worked out or whatever. But yeah, 2 to 3 weeks on this. Bummer.
It's tough because the team comes out and says he'll be reevaluated in 3 weeks. I've also read some things that maybe he'll be ready to go faster than that, but the team is trying to be cautious, which I understand. You want to be cautious, especially if we can win a lot of these games coming up and just kind of solidify our playoff spot, which I will say the West it's not quite as tight as it had been. So that's encouraging. But I'm really hoping he can come back sooner. I mean, it was so disappointing to see that it wasn't even in a game. Just, twists his ankle, lands weird. And I saw the video and I'm like, I think we've all done that at one point or another. Yeah. But it's different because he's really working hard. And yeah, it's such a bummer. It's such an anomaly. And I guess the reports are that the swelling is going down and that it's encouraging, but we're just having to be extra cautious, and he still did sprain it. So,
yep.
Yeah, it was just a huge bummer.
And At this point, you just start to look at the whole standings and everything, keeping in mind that we're not going to have Durant for a minimum of 2 weeks. That's the absolute earliest we've ever heard he could come back. So we're 2.5 games down from the 2 and 3 seed right now. Grizzlies are falling. We play the Kings here real quick. So that's going to be a big game. But then after that, we have 3 games on the 5 seed and 3.5 games on the 6 seed. So we have a 3.5 game cushion before we have to start worrying about potentially falling into the play-in.
Ugh. Well,
it's something that we
sound
have to keep in mind now, although I think that Devin Booker will be able to lead this squad to keeping where we are right now. The 4 seed, I truly think without Durant, Booker firing on all cylinders, we can hold off and keep home court at least.
I hope so.
Yeah, something to keep in mind though, because we're running out of games, and it is pretty tight. Who knows about the Lakers? They seem to be playing pretty decent without LeBron right now. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're in the 9 seed. Pelicans not going to have Zion back. Who knows what's going to happen down there?
The Pelicans have been bad. And I saw a stat that I forget the exact number, but I believe Zion has played around 25 games per season in every NBA season he's had. Just on average, 25 games a season.
More points per game than games per season.
Wow.
Oh, that's tough.
That is wild.
Yeah, I don't think you can be carrying that much weight at that height. You just can't.
That's what I'm hearing a lot of people saying.
I mean, a lot of centers don't weigh that much who are 7'1", that type. Right. Man.
Yeah, no, I feel for him though.
Yeah, well, I hope Jose Alvarado can fight through the play-in. If they even hold that spot.
Yeah, I don't know if they're even going to make it.
All right. Let's move it on to a happier subject. And Devin Booker, this might be the best 4-game stretch we've ever seen him play. Unreal. He has been unreal. 35-plus points in the last 4. First time in Suns history a guy's ever done that. And you look at these stat lines from each of these games, it's efficient shooting. And he's doing a little bit in every category. Assists, rebounds, blocks, steals, not even joking about that. That's showing up in every single game. So Devin Booker showing that he's a complete player with Kevin Durant at his side and without Kevin Durant at his side.
Yeah. It's so encouraging. I mean, the scoring is there and it's as efficient as ever. We have a 10-assist game in that Dallas game, which I know we're going to talk about this later, but wow, that game. That was one of the best games I've seen in a very long time. And I wasn't even able to watch all of it live. I listened to it live on the radio for parts of it, and then I went back to watch it, and what a game that was. But yeah, Booker was just so great. The OKC game, which we'll talk about later too, he has 44 points and he didn't even play that much. I think it was Eddie Johnson who said, if he would have played at his regular minutes, he would have had 60.
Yep. Only 28 in that game.
28, yeah. 44 points in 28 minutes.
6 misses on 23 tries.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, he's been so good. And one thing that I'm noticing is he's getting more hate than usual. And well, it's kind of it's a mixture of things. Some people are giving him more hate, but other people are saying, "Wow, Devin Booker is actually really good." And my takeaway from like all of this and people's reactions to his game lately is, oh, you're actually watching him for once.
Yeah, that is, it's factual, man. he gets a tough rep on the NBA Twitter and Reddit, but as you know, we've watched this guy play 99% of his games between us, I'm sure. You know?
Yes.
He is so fun to watch, and if you don't like the smack talk and trying to get in guys' heads a little bit, I mean, I don't know how you can't enjoy that. And Booker doesn't go over the top. I mean, maybe once or twice he's gone a little too far, but yeah, he's gonna talk smack. He's gonna let the refs know when he thinks he got fouled, whatever. Every single guy in the league does that.
Everyone does it.
You can't pick on Booker for that.
And he's been doing this for his whole career. And this is what I'm talking about when I say people are finally watching him. Nothing that he's doing is anything new. He's been this good for a long time. He has always been a little bit of a talker. I remember this was from probably 5 years ago or so at this point. He and Jimmy Butler got into it a little bit, and I remember Booker said, "Oh, I was talking to myself."
I think that was in 2016, bro.
I think it was too.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure I was in. Where would I have been? Houston, I think.
Maybe even 2015. I don't even know.
If it were 15, yeah, I was in Houston because it was in March. I remember I was on the road with the Gonzaga Bulldog Band for NCAA tournament. So I was either in Houston or Denver. I was in whatever city I was in because I remember I was on the road when that happened, when he played in that game and had all that trash talk, and I remember talking to you about it. But yeah, I remember being on the road. So that was either 15 or 16.
Yeah, he's been doing it since the day he got drafted, and long before that too, I am sure.
Oh, I think it would have had to have been 16 because it was spring.
Okay.
So yeah, that's funny. That's such a specific memory I have.
I remember around that same time, I think Joe Johnson even said something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's well known. He's been doing this the whole time. It's such just a back and forth about how everyone thinks the NBA is too buddy-buddy, but then when Devin Booker talks trash to somebody, they want to burn down his house.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever.
People just, no one can be happy nowadays.
No, it's true. I'm happy watching Devin Booker play.
Oh, me too. Absolutely.
And it's just been on complete display that he's going to get buckets from literally anywhere. And, lately he's been taking it into the post a little bit lately, like a mid post, not always down right on the block, but backing guys down a little bit. He's getting to the rim. The threes are dropping. Man, even in that OKC game, we were running something goofy enough for them to leave him in the corner wide open again without Durant on the floor. So,
oh my gosh, I know. Yeah, I was actually thinking about his 3-point shooting lately because it has been good. And I was thinking just about how we're such a great mid-range shooting team. And I was thinking about that. Yeah, Booker really is a great mid-range shooter, and he's built his career off that. And then I was like, oh, and he won a 3-point contest, and he's a great 3-point shooter. Right. And we know those numbers dipped a little bit over the last couple of years, but it seems like as of late, he's shooting really nice from behind the 3-point line.
And how often are all the competitors in the 3-point contest guys that are drawing the other team's best defender every game,
Right.
Think about, back then Booker was able to catch and shoot a little bit open a lot more often than he has in the last few years.
Right. Yeah. He's not Danilo Gallinari or someone like that. He's, the number one option.
Yeah. Man. No, he's just been a joy to watch lately. I assume it's going to keep up, too. He seems like he's just on a tear right now. He's enjoying what he's doing. I think his teammates are all enjoying it, too. It's so fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been great.
All right. So we were talking about the smack talk a little bit. I don't truly care for this topic.
I want to talk about it, though.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Is Doncic versus Booker a rivalry? Is it a Mavericks versus Suns rivalry, or is this more of a one-on-one type deal?
I think it's a good question because I do think it's a rivalry. I guess it's hard to say to what extent it is, whether it's just Booker versus Luka or a team. It's probably a team thing, actually, now that I think about it. I just love it. I love it because both of these guys know exactly what they're doing. You know, they're smiling as they're looking at each other and they know exactly what they're doing, and they're just going back and forth, and it really is a reality show. Like they're Booker says one thing, Luka says another. Booker has a comeback. Luka says, "Don't talk with 3 seconds left." I'm like, I love it all. I think it's very fun. I think they know exactly what they're doing. I think they probably respect each other a lot, and that's kind of where I stand on it.
I look at it like 3 different rivalries in one, ordered like this. First, I think Doncic versus Booker is probably the top rivalry of it all. Second, the Suns versus Luka himself.
Mm-hmm.
Third, Suns versus Mavericks. Because, do you not like Tim Hardaway Jr.? I don't give a crap about any of those other guys on that team. They don't bother me. It's just Luka.
True.
So, yeah, I kind of look at it like Booker versus Luka. And then you can kind of tag team in the Ayton versus Luka for the draft pick concept of it. But
yeah.
I don't know. Until Luka gets a real running mate and a real squad with him, I feel like it's not really Suns versus Mavericks. And
yeah,
I'm sure that would really tick off some Mavericks fans if they were to hear that, because they did boot us out of the playoffs last year.
Right.
But new year, new team. I'm putting my money on the Suns on that one.
Yeah, me too. I just love how invested people get with this kind of stuff on Twitter, and just the back and forth and people saying, "Oh, you can't talk," or I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just so funny how seriously people take it. Like, look at these two guys. They're laughing the whole time. Just sit back and enjoy the ride.
Oh, man. And when Monty and Kid kind of came together when that happened, and
that was great.
Monty gave Kid the head pump like Luka kind of did into Booker, and I assume they both got a kick out of that. It looked pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love it.
Me too.
All right. So, do you need to explore this any further? I feel like,
no. That's all I had to say.
That's fair.
All I had to say.
And yeah, don't get me wrong. A Suns versus Mavericks playoff series, whenever it comes across in the playoffs, I would be very excited for that.
I mean, I think it. I realize that sometimes I quote my own tweets, but I'm just referencing something I said before. I'm not trying to be like a jerk about it. But after we beat the Mavs, I tweeted, "Give me a 4-game series of this." And anyone who knows me actually knows how much of a joke that is. But I thought that was funny. But I want that playoff series. I really do.
Yeah, I like our strategy of just tweeting a trolly, like a really trolly statement every once in a while, and then just not replying to anybody who gets offended about it.
Yep. Well, so the reason why though is because I really don't know what to do. I've learned a little bit more because friend of the show Josh Cranwetter at Josh Cran on Twitter has taught me a lot. He's taught me how to do. You say cope L plus Mavs fan or something. See, I didn't know any of this. I remember one time someone responded to something that I tweeted, and I just sent a screenshot. And I said, "What do I say?" So
we need to hire him as our social media manager.
No, that's an idea.
Yes, we need more presence on Twitter.
If you all of a sudden see a bunch of really fiery stuff from our Twitter.
We got Josh in. Yeah. Oh. All right. Let's keep her moving along a little bit here. We'll talk a little bit about this Mavs game. We already got a good start on it. Then we'll talk about the Thunder game a little bit. But, like, this Mavericks game, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker combined for 73, while Kyrie and Doncic combined for 64.
Wow.
Yeah, playoff series, please.
Yes.
Hopefully, a Western Conference Finals, ideally, but who knows how that's going to all end up by then.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, this was one of the best games, I think, in a very long time. Just so high-powered, high-octane offense. It's what I love about basketball.
Yeah. Durant 12 for 17 from the floor. Booker 15 for 25. So quite a bit more efficient out of Durant there. But in this game, it was because I was very quickly becoming used to Kevin Durant being just a freak of nature. I think we've all watched KD play plenty of games, but when he's on your squad and you watch close and you're starting to root for it, I mean, it's so nice.
It's so great. Yeah.
But, 2-3 more weeks, maybe we'll get a little bit more. We'll see.
I hope so. Well, we were talking about this right before we started recording, but when I was listening to Buckets with Amir Blumenfeld and Billy Scafuri, they mentioned that Kevin Durant's release point on his jumper is about 10 feet. And that's just impossible to guard. And I think that was really on display. There were multiple times where he just had 3 defenders draped on him, and he still drains it like it's nothing. So, I mean, that was just – it was such like a good slap in the face of reality. We're really good.
Yeah. This was a great game to watch all around. We mentioned Ish with his very timely 3-pointers in this one. Chris with 11, 6, and 7, doing a little bit of everything. Ayton again with those 16 rebounds. The guys showed up that we were counting on to show up for sure. And when that happens, more often than not, we're going to get W's. And now we just have to wait again for that squad to come back around.
Yes. And hopefully it's not that long.
Hopefully not.
It just feels like such a tease because that was so great.
It was. That little stretch was all great basketball. I mean,
yeah.
You know what? We move on to the next game, though, like the Suns did, and picked up a win without Kevin Durant. A 31-point win over the Thunder, who were without 2 of their best guys. So tough to get too excited about a win like this, but we did what we needed once again. The starters all played under 30 minutes in this game. The bench got plenty of run, and while the starters were in, if you look at those plus-minus numbers, they're pretty gaudy. Everyone is over plus 26.
Yeah, that's nice. This is one that maybe is not as much worth a rewatch.
Right.
Booker, great game. Like we said, 44 points in 28 minutes. That's all you need to know. OKC is in the Wembanyama sweepstakes. So,
yep.
Yeah.
I'd recommend just watching a Devin Booker highlight tape on this game compared to anything else. But I mean, Chris Paul 18 and 9, 4 steals, 6 for 8 shooting.
That's nice.
This was the Terrence Ross game where he caught fire, 6 for 10 from downtown for 24 points. Love seeing that. And my man Ish Wainwright, got to shout him out again. Although he scored 0 points, 8 rebounds in 17 minutes.
Yeah, that's nice.
We need that. Landale played 18 minutes, 4 rebounds. So Ish doubling his rebound rate in those minutes. We're going to need that big time. When Ayton's not on the court, it needs to be a team effort to rebound the ball for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. Games like this are nice for some of these things just to get it figured out. Get Terrence Ross hot. Figure out what it's going to look like when Ayton's not on the court. All of that kind of stuff. These are good opportunities for that. And it's nice that we weren't in a really close battle. We were able to kind of experiment with some of those things.
Yeah, totally emptied out the bench for this one too. Like Bismack got minutes, Saban Lee got minutes, TJ even played 7 at the end there when he came in for Book. So that's promising to see, and especially if you look back a month or so, we didn't even have this many guys active for a stretch of 20 games.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Despite Durant being hurt, this is almost the healthiest we've been all year.
Yeah, as a whole.
Yeah, look at that homer take with the silver lining to end that. Okay, we'll move on to this week's games. 4 of them before our new episode will come out next week. And the first one will be the day this episode comes out. And probably the biggest game of the week against Sacramento. That would be a huge one to take as we fight with them in the standings, trying to climb up to either the 2 or 3 seed. Hopeful for a win here. I think we can get them without Durant, but it should be a good game.
I love that they're good.
House Sun Kings, baby.
Yeah, I love that Sabonis is amazing. Go Zags, very nice guy. He's one of the NBA players that I can say I have met. So that's always cool. Got to do my little brag about that. I'm just very, very happy for the Kings. They really deserve this. And their trajectory is somewhat similar to ours, though I think in reality they've probably had it worse than us. So I'm happy for them. I also really, really want to beat them. But
right.
I would really love if maybe they could stay. You know, the Grizzlies are kind of falling right now. If the Kings could stay pretty good and we still stay at 3 or 4, I'm kind of rooting for the Kings overall.
Yeah, I'd love to see them even get into the playoffs and take a series the first round, as long as it's not against us, obviously. But
right.
I would love for that to happen. I think a rejuvenation of some of the teams that have been down in the dumps in the West is kind of nice. Get on board.
Yeah,
it's fun for the fans, I can tell you that.
Yeah, and just to see the Spurs be terrible, that's really nice.
Yeah.
To see the Lakers struggle is really nice. So this is just how it should be, I think.
I love it. Love it. Okay, we say that was the most important game of the week, but there's 2 more big ones back to back right after that. We're at Golden State on Monday, and then against the Bucks at home Tuesday. But that Warrior game, I'm excited to see what they look like again as we've moved on further into the season, because no matter what their record is, it just seems like if Steph Curry's healthy, these guys are on the verge of being a contender any given night. But then again, they just kind of got spanked by the Grizzlies last night. So
yes, they also lost to the Lakers recently.
The Thunder too, maybe. I think.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know what to say about those guys. Are they finally running out of steam? Is that crew finally about done for? Who knows?
It seems like it's getting there. It's also been a while since we've played them, so it will be interesting to see what they look like. And yeah, I mean, this stretch is brutal though. Kings Saturday, Warriors Monday, Bucks Tuesday, with the Warriors game on the road. That is brutal.
Yeah. And the Warriors, as it stands right now, it's pretty close to being a first-round matchup for us. It's in that vicinity. It's not set up perfectly right like that right now, but it's a real possibility, and that's not a team I'd like to draw in the first round.
No, and we are at the point in the season where we have to treat every game like a playoff game. So it's serious.
Yeah, pretty much. Until we get, the last week or so of the season, I think that's when we'll finally be able to say, okay, we can probably ease off and take an L here if our bench guys can't carry us, whatever. Well,
I sure
it's a
hope
while before we get to that, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the Bucks game on Tuesday, that'll be our bet question.
Yes, and of course we have to go with Devin Booker points. So I think you went first last time, but it didn't happen. Do you want to go first? How do you want to do it?
I'll go first, and I'll just say 38.
38.
The always optimistic Homer himself says 38.
I was thinking 1,000, but no, just kidding. This is tough. It is the second night of a back-to-back. I'll say 35. So let us know on Twitter at Sunny and PHX Pod. How many points do you think Devin Booker will score in Tuesday's game against the Bucks? And hopefully he actually plays so we can have a bet question again.
These two games against the Warriors and Bucks are really when I'd like to bring our new boyfriend, Kevin Durant, up to the court to show everybody our new handsome boyfriend. Because, the Warriors used to have him, and now he's ours. And the Bucks, they beat us in the championship, and, now we have KD.
Yeah.
Kind of a bummer.
It would be so nice. It would be so nice to have him.
After that, though, we have one that looks like it could be an easy one, the Orlando Magic on Thursday at home. So,
yeah.
I hope the guys are looking at it like give 110% for the first three games, and then by Orlando, hopefully the bench can carry us to a win there.
Hopefully. Yeah, I don't know. You just can't ever be you can't slow down too much at any point.
No, and the Magic have so many tools. I mean,
they do.
Banchero is solid for a rookie. He's been coming back around since he shot like 3% from downtown last month. And they have Wagner. Wagner's always good. Fultz is having like a career rejuvenation year, and he's playing really nice ball. Yeah. So they have tools. They'll make it tough on you. They play good defense.
Wendell Carter Jr. has been good. He's hurt right now, but if he's healthy, he has been good this year. Right. Jalen Suggs, I don't know the status of his health, but go Zags. He has not had a very good year, but I think eventually he will be good.
As a Suggs fan, he is having a bit better of a year efficiency-wise this year.
Okay.
Which is good, and he's just a dog on defense. So, I mean,
yeah,
we play them, and Booker gets to be guarded by Suggs all night. That's that kind of situation.
So, we really have to be careful with this one. It would be rough to drop this game, especially if we drop a couple of these of the next three.
Right. Yeah. Let's, these 4 games, we split them 2-2. I wouldn't be mad.
No, I wouldn't either. That would be fine. With that, though, we'll move to the non-sports section of our show. And our question this week is, what is your favorite sound, not including music?
Oh. Mine's kind of weird.
Okay.
I talk about something similar, like I love the sound of Canadian geese. I love Canadian geese. I love the honks. They remind me of, being back up north. And I just love the sound. It sounds kind of stupid, but, they're letting it be known that they're flying overhead. I just love Canadian geese.
No, that's nice. That's a good one. I was going to say running water, like a nice stream or even up to a waterfall.
Yeah.
That's a nice sound, and It's actually a sound that will play throughout the house sometimes because my daughter likes to fall asleep to the sound of running water.
Right.
She loves music, but we're not talking music here. She also really loves being outside, and my parents have a little fountain type thing at their house that she loves the sound of. So if she's having a hard time sleeping, I'll just pull up a YouTube 10-hour running water sound thing, and that helps her. So I actually I've liked that sound before, but I think I have a newfound appreciation for it.
Nice. And to stick with something a little more practical and the water theme, like the waves crashing in, gentle waves coming in. That's that's like a setting on the sleep timer for your alarm type deal, for the sleep sounds. I can get behind that. And the real thing, if you can actually listen to it, pretty nice.
Yeah. To be able to fall asleep to, I guess, like light rain too. If it's really heavy, it can make it hard to sleep, for me at least. But some nice, light, moderate rain, that's a great sound too.
Ooh. So my wife has gotten in on those, like, what would you call it? A sleep video on YouTube. It's just like a static scene, but it's playing background noise. Mm-hmm. And the ones with rain are so calming. Like I normally go when I hop into bed, and if she's asleep, I'll turn it to Sports Center or something stupid. But when the rain one's on, there's a chance I'm leaving it on and just instantly falling asleep.
Yeah. No, it's great. There's some nice sounds out there.
Millions, billions.
My own voice. Just kidding.
I listen to this podcast on repeat at bedtime normally.
Well, actually, this is kind of funny too. We all know that it can be hard to hear the sound of your own voice, like on a recording. We've been doing this for long enough that I actually have been desensitized to that.
Same.
Right. I wouldn't say I go out of my way, I love hearing the way I sound, but it doesn't make me cringe anymore.
Yeah, I'm aware that I sound a little different in my head than what comes out of my mouth, actually. Mm-hmm. And I'm finally used to that voice. I remember, right when we started the podcast, I couldn't believe that was me.
Same.
I really sound like that? But now I'm used to it.
Yeah, it was hard at first, but after 7+ years of doing this, that has gone away. And it's interesting because I can listen to it and know, I realize I do this thing. Or one thing that I've noticed is, this example a lot of people can apply to, but the word like. That was one thing that we thought about a lot. And I've really slowed down on saying that word because when you hear yourself, you realize how much you're saying those things. So I've slowed way down on the word like, and outside of the podcast, just in everyday life. There's a time and place for it, but when it's unnecessary, I have been able to cut it out just from hearing myself back through the podcast.
I try that, but I've heard myself say it in this podcast numerous times. Which is unfortunate. Something I do need to work on, but the fact that I hear myself say it and cringe a little bit is a step, Yes. We're not perfect yet. Never will be.
No.
We're on. We try to get better. Promise.
We do.
All right. You know what? Speaking of hearing our own voices, if you made it to this part of the podcast, you must like hearing our voices a little bit too. So we thank you all for tuning in. At Sunny and PHX Pod on Twitter, Sunny and PHX Podcast on YouTube. Check those out. We'll be in touch. Tune in next week. Go Suns.